Morning. Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped, and welcome to the start of a very, very busy week. I have so many things on this week. It is Sparrows. It's 6:30 on a Monday morning. I've got a very busy week, and the backdrop of this week, I am going to be shuttled around everywhere in this rather nice Audi RS3. And I thought you'd like to come along for the ride to see exactly what I do during a week of work. Now, as you can probably tell from my smart shirt, I'm off to do me proper job. What was my proper job? I'm actually training for a client this week in Cheltenham, but I've got lots of other things happening at the same time, and I've got my hands on the new RS3, although I guess it's not that new anymore. I went out and did the press drives of this out in the mountains last year, I think, and it was a car that impressed me hugely, and I haven't had chance to spend any more time in one. So I had a chat with Audi, and they've lent me one for a couple of weeks just to get under the skin, because honestly I could see myself buying one of these. They are a tick lots of boxes kind of car, although this particular one is a saloon, and I would probably buy the Sportback. But I'll tell you more about the car a little bit later on in the video. In terms of what I'm doing, well, normally when I leave home at Sparrows, it's dark, but because it's during the very nearly the longest day here in the UK, it's actually daylight now, and the birds have been waking us up for the last 3 hours. So I'm on my way to Cheltenham. It's about 2 hours, 15 minutes to get there. And I'm teaching all week, but Tuesday night I've got a thing at Caffeine and Machine with the podcast. We're doing our first live podcast on Tuesday night, so I'll take you along to that behind the scenes to show you just exactly what goes into making a podcast. There's a lot of nasty potholes up this bit of road, my goodness me. And then Wednesday, Thursday are normal days. That's not too bad, probably not much to film there. Although I do need to put my midweek 180 out on Wednesday, so I'll need to probably film that tonight, which is Monday, because I won't have a chance on Tuesday or Wednesday. And then on Friday, once I finish work in Cheltenham, I hightail it into London, because I've got an event with Michelin on Friday evening, and then we're going to the bike show in London on Saturday to record another live podcast. So podcast week this week, and then back home, and then Sunday I've got a drive tour. So really, really busy. Anyway, the car is now warm. I've got a special RS mode set up with a little RS button on the steering wheel. Pretty much everything in aggressive, except for the suspension, which I've backed off into comfort, and that is my mode of choice for this car. Anyway, I'm going to concentrate, get myself to Cheltenham, and the next time I speak to you, I might well be at the hotel this evening, because I've got a busy, busy day. I haven't done any teaching for ages and ages. Time for an unplanned rant. I am on the A272, which runs between Petersfield and Winchester. It's a brilliant bit of road. This, one of my favourites, especially on an early morning run like this where there's no cars around. But they've recently destroyed it because they put specs, average speed cameras up. It's now an average 50 all the way along. God knows what that's doing to Lumi's Cafe, which is a big bike hub that we're about to come past. Because all of these roads around here, and it's probably because of that reason they put the average speed cameras up, to be fair. I can just see that's the way the world's going, I'm afraid. And it's really, really gutting, because this is a mega bit of road, and they've just ruined it. Okay, it's now Tuesday. Last night I got back to my hotel. I filmed my midweek 180, and I did lots of editing. Pretty dull, really. But I'm now on my way. I finished work today. I'm on my way over to Caffeine and Machine, because me, Joe, and Pat are recording a live episode of the podcast, our first live episode in front of an audience. Bit of a last minute thing. We only got the go ahead from Caffeine and Machine on Friday, and it's now Tuesday. So it'll be interesting to see how many, if anyone, turns up. But while I'm driving over there, I thought I'd just talk to you about this particular RS3. So I went out to Germany for the press drives of this new latest generation of RS3, and it was a hugely impressive car. I got to max it on the Autobahn, we went up into the mountains. It was a mega trip, and I really enjoyed my time with the car, and therefore I wanted to just spend a bit longer with one. And I knew I was away with work for a couple of weeks and I'd be getting lots of driving in, and I managed to bag this one from Audi. It's the Saloon. For me, I wouldn't buy a Saloon. I quite like the look of them, but the Sportback is just so usable for us with the dogs and so on. It would have to be a Sportback. But honestly, one of the cars on our radar for a potential new car would be an RS3, that or a Defender 90, to be fair. And what I like about this one, it's a pretty boggo spec, actually. Unusually for an Audi press car, it's only got two options, and that's the paintwork and the adaptive suspension, and that brings it in at around 56,000 quid, which I know is a lot of money for an RS3, but if you're not careful with the options list on an RS3, you can easily get one up to, mid to late 60s. So actually I think, money-wise, it's pretty good, and I quite like the murdered out spec. I like the wheels to look at, and when I put some pictures on Instagram, lots of people are like, oh, that's great, it's got silver wheels. So many cars nowadays have black wheels, and I must admit I'm a bit of a black wheel fan. This one, the silver wheels do look really nice, however, a proper pain in the bum to keep clean. They're not nice to keep clean at all, but they do look good, really, really good. Just in terms of car, how it drives, it has a couple of annoying features. The most annoying one, and it's not unique to Audi by any means, but it's got lane departure assistance, this car. And it turns on every time you turn the ignition on. You can go into the infotainment system and turn it off, and then you don't get that annoying, it's quite an intrusive system. It pulls the steering wheel and tries to kind of keep you in the lane. And I know it's a safety feature, but at times it just interrupts at just the wrong moment when you're wanting to turn in and you want that delicate balance in your hand of the steering wheel, and you can feel it tugging at the steering wheel. And when you turn it off, that goes away. The annoying thing is that's not a permanent turn off. It comes back on again the next time you turn the car on, and I'm sure there's some legislation that says that manufacturers have to do that, but honestly, it's a pain in the bum and a real turn off, because it's not massively difficult. It's probably about 3 options into the infotainment system to turn it off. Super annoying. The way I've got this car set up, it's got the Drive Select program, so you've got efficiency and sport and a dynamic setting. Because we've got the adaptive suspension, the dynamic setting, the suspension in its firmest setting for me is too hard for a UK road. So I've set up an RS button. There's a little RS button on the steering wheel, and you've got 2 RS modes that you can set, and I've got one set that basically turns everything up to the max apart from the suspension, which I've dialed back down to its softest setting, and that for me works really nicely. I've done quite a lot of miles in the car already off camera. Last weekend, Tracy and I went away to the Cotswolds. We had the dogs in the back, we had a full boot of stuff, and it's just a mega car to destroy miles. And honestly, I can't think of many cars down a B road that are as fast as an Audi RS3. 400 PS, 4-wheel drive, epic thing. So we are very nearly there, just a mile away. Hang a left at this roundabout and we're there, cafe in a machine. Now I think I made a bit of a mistake. I'm pretty sure I said this car was £56,000. It's not, it's just a shade over £57,000 on the road, which I know is a lot of money. I remember when I was very nearly bought an RS3, I think it was something like 49 grand, and now they're 57 and that's base. So yeah, anyway, it's very nearly time for us to do our podcast thing. We've got a couple of hours until the podcast starts, but we need to set up. We're planning to do it outside, although interestingly there's a big kind of dark cloud over there. I hope that stays dry and keeps whatever its contents it has inside it. It might just me being, I don't know, pessimistic, I'm not sure. But anyway, just round this corner, cafe in a machine. I haven't been here for ages actually. The last time I was here I didn't film anything, Hyundai had some cars on display, and I popped in when I was working in the area again. Popped in just to take some static pics. Yeah, always a good evening with Cafe in a Machine. Here we go. I wonder whether the boys are outside. They probably are, I would have thought. Maybe. Well, we've pretty much all set up. There's only about 40 minutes before we start our live action. So we are set up in the trees just by Cafe in a Machine. We've got the podcast desk. We've got a PA so everyone can listen to us. And we've actually got people arrived, look, an audience and everything. Dead impressed. We weren't sure how many people would arrive. We're feeding ourselves with lovely pizza. The pizza's amazing, by the way. A beer. Pat's stuffing his face with pizza. You enjoying that, dude?
Stop filming whilst I'm eating. It's very good.
But yeah, we are all set. And then Joe's picked up our latest Gizit from Michelin. Look at that. Yes, very cool motorsport time. But hopefully we'll fill these benches with people, and we'll be live in, I don't know, 40 minutes time. Final sound checks. Hello. So this is the setup. Look, we've even got Guinness, just one, and then Pat's just checking that camera there. So we've got a camera there, camera hiding over there, camera there. Joe,
special person.
Joe's car, Grillez just there. My RS3 just there. Well, it's technically not mine, it's Audi's, but you know.
There's a lot of BMWs and Minis in the car park.
I know. I don't know why.
That means we've got an audience.
And then we've got. This is the audience view. They're starting to build. Let me zoom in. Look, this is a very rough and ready vlog. Oh, there we go. Look, there's people there waiting, eating the best pizza ever. Rock and roll. We're about to roll.
We are, mate.
And we got quite a good audience. Look.
It's filling up.
And the sun's just come out
to
give us a bit of lighting.
Yeah, I can't see anything.
No, let's do this. Let's do this live podcast shit. Come on.
I see it for the first time. I saw it in a studio in Munich, and I
guess with BMW you're at a point now where you're so well known and have such good contacts within BMW, you get to talk to designers and their ethos behind the cars, and you can kind of put that into your videos.
Yeah, you do, but as you know, you speak. So yeah, but anyway, that's me with BMW. How did you start with the Mini love, and did it actually start with Mini? Because I have a feeling there's another story.
There is, yeah. I'm just also thinking that good people at Porsche and watching my stuff. Yeah, I so far. If that is me again. These Teslas sound good, don't they? Wow. Do you think that's like a speaker underneath it?
I think so, yeah. But yeah, that sensation wears off quickly, and also
all done. Hey! That went well.
Oh. Went really well.
That was really good. Yeah.
And we got Patrick on this.
Yeah, Patrick's on the podcast. Come on.
Get my Instagram in there, which I was pleased about. I got 4 subscribers or followers from that.
That's the best bit of the video.
That went really, really well. It's now really bloody late. It's 9:30.
Yeah, but look at the beautiful sky.
I know, look at that. Did you like my Mika impression?
Yes, yeah.
I didn't know if you were going to bring that out again after the
Had to, man. Had to. That was really good. Really good. Mega turnout. Super pleased with that.
Yeah.
Considering the late notice, I thought that was amazing turnout.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Perfect, actually, for our first attempt, because if we fucked up, not many people would see it.
It's a good test bed. Yeah. I think that's the nice thing about the podcast as a whole, isn't it? Is that we're all learning here.
Yeah,
it's all a new experience.
But yeah, brilliant. So now I've got to finish packing up and get home and go back to my hotel, which is only an hour away.
Oh. Are you selling phones again tomorrow?
Yeah, I am. Morning all, it's now the next morning. I just wanted to quickly say a huge thank you to anyone who came out last night to watch us record the first ever live Drive Talk podcast. It was a brilliant evening. Big thanks to Caffeine and Machine as well. Ultimately, we want to do more of those, and we want to make it a little bit more sophisticated and have roving mics and those types of things, but we just couldn't get the equipment in time to do that. So we kind of did our first step towards that last night. We learned an awful lot about putting on a live show. It's very different to recording it in person, both technically but also just from a presenting point of view. You've got lots of things to be distracted by, but it was brilliant. That episode probably hasn't dropped onto the podcast yet if you're watching this, because I know this video will go live first. So if you're not already subscribed to the Drive Talk podcast, please head on over there and hit the subscribe button. It would really help us grow the channel, and it will be on all the audio podcast platforms, Apple and Google and Spotify. Wherever you get your podcasts, you'll be able to find it. So again, give us a like and a follow, and a review if you can. But yeah, it was great fun. Now the rest of this week, I've got a couple more days doing my day job. Beautiful day today. But then on Friday, I've got to head into London for a really cool event with Michelin. So the next time I talk to you, we'll probably be on our way into London after I've finished my week of work.
Very cool to meet you as well.
It is. I'm honoured to join you guys. We've been friends for many years. We're just working it out. It's been quite some time.
Now then, I am on my way to London, but as you can hear, I'm listening to the Drive Talk podcast because, mute that for a second, the latest episode just went live this lunchtime. And our special guest is our mate Tim. And Tim Burton, which most people will probably know as Mr. Shmee 150, and we were super proud to get Tim on as our first guest. We went down to the Shmuseum a few weeks ago to record the episode, and we've been dying to get it out there. We haven't said anything about the fact we've got him on, so it's great to listen back to the episode. But anyway, I'm on my way into London now, and I'm heading to Tobacco Dock because this weekend is the Bike Shed show at Tobacco Dock, and it's supported by the headline sponsor Michelin, and we've been invited down there by Michelin. They've had a thing on this afternoon which I haven't been able to go to because I've been working, and then we've got a private evening this evening at the show, and then tomorrow morning we're recording another podcast. So I'm on my way in. The plan is I'm going to fight my way into London, and it's not looking great, to be honest. My ETA keeps going out and out and out because Tobacco Dock's like the other side of London to where I'm coming in from. It's going to be horrendous basically, but I'm going to park at the car park near Tobacco Dock, go to this evening, then get Michelin transport back to the hotel, leave my stuff in the car, and then tomorrow come back to the car, get the podcast stuff out the back of the car, record the podcast, then head home. That's the plan. Anyway, I'm going to concentrate and try and get into London, but I hate going into London, especially on a Friday evening. Welcome to central London. I've got 4.4 miles left to go, and sat-nav saying it's still going to take 35 minutes. It's horrendous. However, one of the things I just wanted to talk about, and it's not a particularly new feature on a car, but really useful in London, is I'm using the speed limiter function on the RS3, which normally when you get an RS3 you want to get in it and go as fast as you can, but there's so many speed cameras, there's one just there, and at the moment I'm in a 20, and it's really easy to go more than 20 miles an hour if you're not careful. So I've got the speed limiter set to 20 miles an hour, and that means I know I'm not going to get into trouble with any speed cameras. The other thing I must remember to do tomorrow is pay my congestion charge, and I don't need to worry about ULEZ either because this is a ULEZ compliant car. These are all the things you need to worry about when you drive into central London, but I hate driving in central London. So it's now the next day, and we are set up pretty much ready to go here at the Michelin stand at Bike Shed Show, but you can kind of see it's absolutely rammed now. There's loads and loads of people. We're ready to go. We've got the girl on a bike as our guest, so tune into the podcast if you've never heard her before. She does awesome things on motocross bikes, does the Dakar, that kind of thing. And we're surrounded by beautiful, beautiful bikes. So we are going to get going with the... Now, this isn't, if you like, a live one for a live audience. There'll be people walking past, but we haven't got any PA speakers. We're just going to literally record it there and then. But it's a pretty cool setup, to be honest. So yeah. And also, fully branded up as well, notice. So next thing we've got to do is record a podcast. Well, we finished the podcast at what honestly, that for me, one of my favourite episodes we've recorded so far. Our guest Vanessa Ruck, who on Instagram is the girl on a bike, she was just amazing, absolutely amazingly inspirational story from, you know, mega adversity, huge accident, countless surgeries, and then to decide she's going to go and start riding enduro bikes in the desert. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, make sure you tune into that. But I'm on my way home now, and I thought, what a great view as we're driving along. Tower Bridge, especially for, I guess, my British followers, we've got the Tower of London.
Average speed check zone.
Thanks for that. We've got the Tower of London just to the right of us, and then we're driving along Tower Bridge. It's such an iconic piece of London, that absolutely stunning. But yeah, I'm on my way home. I've got, what have I got? It's about 70 miles to get home from the centre of London for me, and that's 2 hours, 12 minutes according to Waze. So we'll see how we get on with that. And then I haven't been at home all week, so I'm really looking forward to seeing Tracy and just having a chill out, having a lovely barbecue this afternoon, maybe a glass of rosé. And then tomorrow morning I'm up very early to drive over and meet up with Bradley to go on tour with SEC private members. But this car, I've had this car now for a couple of weeks. I'm just looking at the long-term trip. I've done, well, 10 miles short of 1,000 miles in this car so far. So by the time I get home, I'll have done just over 1,000 miles. And my average MPG is 27.2, which I guess isn't brilliant, but I have been driving this car quite spiritedly, and I guess that's what when you have a car like this, you tend to do that. I know from experience that you could easily get that number up into the early 30s if you put it in economy mode. I've been driving it around in a dynamic mode the whole time. But it's just such a competent car, and my conclusion, having spent now 2 weeks with it, you know, you go on a press drive and you have a car for a day in the mountains in Germany, and I maxed it on the Autobahn, and I had some amazing drives up in the mountains, and it was really impressive. But having lived with it now for a couple of weeks, this is such a competent car. I wouldn't go for the Saloon personally. I'd have the Sportback. I think it's just a little bit more practical for our lifestyle, the dogs and bikes and those types of things. But I love the look of the Saloon. But to live with this thing, oh my days. It's such a competent car, almost too good really to drive it. And oh my god, the guy driving that Ferrari was about 12. He's literally driving an F12, and he looked about 12. But yeah, it's such a good car. It's almost too good in some respects. Sometimes it feels a bit numb because it's just so competent. You're never anywhere near its envelope, and to get near the envelope, the performance envelope, to get that spicy feel, you need to be going so quickly, you're breaking the law. So, you know, it's such a competent car. I can't think of many things that will get down a B road faster than an Audi RS3, just from a size and footprint. 400 PS. It's a phenomenal car, and I love it very much. So yeah, an Audi RS3 or even an S3, you know, 300 horsepower in an S3 is ample to get you into trouble. I could very well see myself owning one of these. I very nearly bought an RS3 a few years ago before I bought my Clubman. And in the end, the price just put me off, and probably the price would still put me off a little bit. But yeah, brilliant car. Anyway, I'm going to battle through the London traffic and leave you with Tower Bridge, all the tourists and the massive traffic jams here in London. And I'll see you on the next film. Anyway, you take care, guys. Drive safe.